I know this brooch. This is my mother's. A birthday gift from father. "29 Pretty Orchard Street. That's near Poplar's district. Why would this man carry off my mother's brooch? I must go there." Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Did you see what happened to him?
Actually, yes. He was thrown from the roof like a vulgar log.
Why is it that you sound so afraid?
You didn't see it. He was dead before he hit the ground. The strength required to do such a thing, well, it beggars belief.
Who could have done that?
Who? Well, a vampire, of course. Look, bite marks on the neck and lacerations here. There is definitely a vampire close by.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton.
You again? What do you want?
Did you see what just happened?
No, I didn't. And I don't care.
Really? Why is that?
Because this sexist pig is one of the 4 men who blacklisted me. Good riddance, if you ask me.
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money, too?
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well... Thank you, sir.
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood. A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union. But a murder? That's a first.
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Why does that upset you so much?
I wish I had found the time and words to tell him how important he was to me before it was too late. Another failure for Giselle Paxton.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Did you see what happened?
No. I was coming back to the shelter from work when I heard an awful scream, and there was this man. dead, just in front of the building.
You saw nothing at all?
No, I told you, just that awful woman's scream.
A woman scream? Are you sure?
Of course. It was terrifying. I thought it was my sister, so I ran. But it was a man I've never seen round here before.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Damn it. I think drink no longer
Welcome
stood.
back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
You lied to me, Tom. Your warehouse wasn't empty. It was inhabited with armed vigilantes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed, but I thought those Prewen guards would be willing to let someone like you pass without trouble.
That was devious of you, Tom. Next time you can bloody well go yourself.
I apologize, Doctor, but it's just that I prefer to avoid the law, its enforcers, and all manner of thugs in uniform.
Here is your booze. I hope it will appease your customers. Just try not to kill anyone with this poison of yours.
Believe me, Doctor, most of my customers are less agreeable when sober.
Tell me about your arrest for attempted murder, Tom.
I tried to kill someone. I got arrested. I paid my debt and I have nothing to hide.
So you mean your customers know about your sordid past?
Why do you think this is the last pub open? I have nothing to hide and I don't judge. That's a relief for many round here.
Do you think prison changed you? Made you a better man?
Oh, I don't know about that. All I brought back is bad memories, scars, and an ugly tattoo of a blue turtle.
But do you feel cleansed of your sins?
All I know is that I'm at peace. I did what I did, but I wouldn't do it again. Does that make me a better man? I don't know.
You attempted murder. Give me some details.
I was given an order to kill. I was an obedient gang member at the time, a proud wet boot boy.
Why did you join the gang?
Because I finally felt useful. Do you have any idea what it means to feel respected when the rest of the world shits on you?
So you were ordered to kill someone. What happened then?
I don't know if you can possibly understand, but I couldn't kill him. I just stood there pointing my gun. Someone saw me. I gave up.
Why couldn't you shoot?
My target was eating in that fancy restaurant with mirrors and music. He was eating, drinking, laughing. He was having such a good time. I hated him for his bottomless appetite and easy life of easy pickings. And then something happened.
You've had a sad, violent, and lonely life, with no joy to speak of. You realized that you were living with nothing but sadness.
No, not really. I had friends and happiness in my life. That was more about just being pleased for the guy.
Why not leave town and start a new life after you got out of jail?
I grew up in the East End. This is where my roots are. This is where I want to help others and die, eventually.
Do you think the docks will always be a hive of scum and villainy?
As long as poverty and fear run the show, I don't see how it would change. Misery loves company, as they say.
Don't you feel threatened, staying in such a violent and criminal neighborhood?
I've made peace with my violent past, Dr. Reed. I may not be a pacifist, but I'm not angry anymore.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
I should have offered a drink to the boy. Be he cursed or not, he's just another lost orphan.
The sewer dog's fault, they say. Then the gangs, the epidemics, everyone's throwing the blame.
Perhaps we should have listened to what the idiot had to say first. Heartens me to know you can't see me, my sweet queen. Perhaps we should have listened to what the idiot...
This is no place for a gentleman! Go back home here! Get them weapons ready!
29 Pretty Orchard Street. This is it. What's in there for me? There's been a fight here. Where does this blood trail lead? So much blood. Whoever was killed got dried out.
Worse, we're being baited by legions playing a nasty game.
Watch out! Have faith, brothers! God walks with me!
Shit, that leech is fast!
We'll crush this beast! Lord, give us strength!
Die there!
The marks on this woman's neck were made by the fangs of a vampire. This is the very flower my mother tossed on Mary's coffin. Someone is targeting my family. Only a golden watch in her pockets. Her shoes and clothes are quite worn out.
I see you.
Right then. It's a sick game. But given no choice in the matter, I might as well win it.
Hey, Doc.
I have found the gift from your wife.
In that case, you'll be properly rewarded, Doc. Clay Cox is a man of his word.
I hope that won't make me an accomplice to your future crimes.
Who knows what I might do now I feel invincible again?
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
I will see you later. You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox.
This place is full of sickness and decay.
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
They know we are overwhelmed by this horrifying epidemic.
This is no time for self-pity. It is the wrong.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Yes, indeed. But don't worry, I am perfectly capable of taking care of myself.
I have no doubt about it, but you are still ill all the same. Please, take this medicine.
I appreciate your concern, Dr. Reed. To be honest, I just did not take the time to diagnose myself.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name. I've never heard of her.
According to old Bridget, Skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors, a disgrace to the vampire that created them.
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire, though I've never met a member.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Scowls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a Scowl. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Well, why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of Scowls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I've never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
A pleasure as always, Edgar.
Must I wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
I would have been confused if anyone other than you had asked that question, Dr. Reed. But your help is welcomed.
There is no shame in helping each other. We're colleagues, after all.
Many doctors I have known are too cynical to think that way.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You don't know what that means to me.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
You are...
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
My condition cannot be understood by you, mortal. This curse is beyond your science.
Well, until the day science finally admits failure, please accept this little contribution.
Thank you, Doctor. Your efforts are admirable, though laughable.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Damn. The pain. It's there again.
Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Ackroyd.
Will this shift never end?
Reads me like a book.
Good evening,
I never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
I have managed to improve the mixture by diluting it. Have you ever heard of Sir Joseph Francis Olive? Or the placebo effect?
No, I don't think so. Why?
A placebo is a substance or procedure that has no actual physical effect.
You made a placebo of my project. Why?
Research has established that a placebo, as long as the subject believes in the effect, can provoke a positive physiological reaction.
Really? That's fascinating. And you want me to, what, administer the placebo and see what occurs?
Something like that, yes.
Well, I'm a bit surprised, but I trust you, Dr. Reed. Please take the key to my cabinet and put this placebo there for future use.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Don't waste your time with me.
You always knew the words to calm.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you think Dr. Strickland has any chance of curing the Spanish flu by himself?
His wish to cure the sick is not driven by pride, but by an idealistic view about our mission here. Honestly, I don't know which is worse.
You consider him a good practitioner, yet you will not report his methods.
Strickland may be a rival, but I will not use dirty tricks or regulations to prove him wrong. We are doctors, not politicians.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
As for me, what a blundering idiot.
At least Strickland can't kill anyone with this formula. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, Nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
So many deaths.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest, then.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
I've read your son's medical report, Beatrice. It's not the flu or anything life-threatening. What has you so worried?
He was at death's door when he was brought here. I just want him to be better as soon as possible.
He's not out of the woods yet, you know. He might need to stay here longer than expected.
Take care of him then, Dr. Reed. People here only seem to focus on contagious patients. I worry my poor Mortimer will be neglected.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Look at it, Die, vermin! We have to stop it! Over there! Not a safe place, right? Crush the leech, boys! He's one of them! Murderous bastard! At least I must...
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
You again? What do you want this time?
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now, and people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Can I offer you my medical expertise, Mr. Peterson?
Keep your medicines for others.
There is a thin line between pride and stupidity, sir. Please take this medication. You'll feel better.
All right. I'll take it then. It's not like I don't appreciate the gesture.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
She's doing good work. I saw her yesterday and told her she could call on me if she ever felt threatened. Do you know what I mean?
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on. Take a look, don't be afraid. Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look, don't be afraid. Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Do you need help, sir?
To be honest, I'd prefer you take a look at my stuff. I'd rather be rich and sick than the contrary.
I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Really? Free? Don't take it personally, but charity usually comes at a price. Human nature being what it is.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis. Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Have you any recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I don't believe in miracles, but it seems the epidemic has been kept at bay for a few days.
Do you remember when Barrett Lewis was close to your family? To your mother?
Not really. I was too young. But I remember it was a happier time. Mr. Lewis was funny. He often had dinner with us.
Why are you sad, then?
Because it hurts to remember a time when my father used to laugh and smile. It hurts to realise he's as sad as me now.
How was he towards you?
He was nice, I guess. He never forgot my birthday. He always offered me books. I liked books.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do.
feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello, Dr. Reed. Come on in. Yes?
How is Nurse Crane these days?
I don't know what you told her, what kind of deal you made, but Dorothea seems less anxious recently. Thank you for that, Dr. Reed.
Do you need some help, Mr. Petrescu?
I am very tired, but that is all. I don't need you, Doctor.
Well, I think you do. Take this, and you'll feel better.
Free drugs from an English doctor? It must be my lucky day.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
Working nearby.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, nurse. How should I address you? Dorothy? Dorothea? Miss Crane?
Dorothy is all right. If you don't mind me calling you Jonathan.
That's fine with me.
What can I do for you then, Jonathan?
How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel?
We have a lot of diseases, and not all linked to the epidemic. Maybe you could provide medical help to those in need.
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine since we made our arrangement.
Do you have many patients?
A few, but most of them just pass through and go back home, especially since those vigilantes stormed the building on the night you were here.
Have there been any more attacks by the uniformed men?
No. It looks like they have found another business to extort.
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine since we made our arrangement.
I hope you've stopped jeopardizing this facility with your illegal business, Dorothy.
Yes, I have. Most of the time. But the blackmail money is too useful to stop it completely. I just target less dangerous people.
Who is the current victim?
I would rather you did not know. You are my client, not my accomplice. Besides, I'm much more cautious since the first time you found me.
Why did you blackmail Lady Ashbury? She's a generous person. You could have asked her for money directly.
She killed those patients, I'm sure of that. I know you like her, but that gingerhead has a taste for blood.
Do you need medical help, Dorothy?
I'm a professional nurse. Rest assured, I'll ask for your help if I need it.
Are you not afraid of dying? The epidemic is deadly and very contagious.
I'm more afraid of being locked in a cell. I've seen what most hospitals do to the sick staff. They keep them hidden to avoid panic.
Do you trust me?
You forced me to resign after you caught me trying to save a dying patient. Of course I trust you. You're a blackmailer, just like me.
Tell me about yourself, Dorothy.
There is not much to say. My real name is Dorothea Crasciunescu. I was born in Romania, and I may have been the best nurse Pembroke ever had, before you fired me.
Do you regret your time at Pembroke?
I miss the energy. There was so much to do, so much to learn. Even though I was double-crossing the board, I felt I was part of something worthwhile there.
Do you think about going back to Romania? Once the war is over and the epidemic here has been contained.
Jonathan, this war will be over long before you will see any improvement in Whitechapel's sanitary situation.
Show me what you have in stock, please.
Cordial can be the Good evening, my dear colleague.
Have you any news on Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I can't believe that people are naive enough to trust her medicine. She's just a shady nurse with good connections.
You look ill, Miss Swanborough. I wonder if your concoction will do the trick.
I have no doubt it will. But I'm not against a second opinion, Dr. Reed.
Well, there you have it. Take this remedy, but be discreet. It may damage your business otherwise.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Miss Swanborough. Perhaps we'll talk again. Good evening, Xiaoshun.
晚上好, Dr. Reed. It's good to see you again.
What are you doing with your time, now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to help the poor and sick of the neighborhood by handing out medicine.
That's very charitable of you. But why do it at night?
I've noticed that the most desperate people tend to go out after dark. Hence my presence, to help them when I can.
Giving out medicine? How can you afford to do that?
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last the rest of my life. I can spend some on those who don't have any.
Why don't you move to a better neighborhood?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here, then?
I am a woman of habit, Dr. Reed. And for now, I am happier being useful in a familiar place than I would be anywhere else.
How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to follow your advice, sir. I won't forget the dead, but my efforts will be for the living.
Try not to lose yourself in the process. I've seen patients deny their own pain by focusing on the pain of others.
To be completely honest with you, I'm also doing this for myself. If I'm destined to survive this epidemic, I need my life to have some purpose.
Do you still think about your departed husband?
Of course I do. I'll never forget my beloved Matthew, but how do I put it? Now I miss him more than I want him back.
I know what you mean. And I think it means you're getting better.
Maybe death will take me the way it took Matthew. Without warning and without mercy. But until then, I live on.
How do you feel? Physically speaking, I mean.
I don't feel good, Dr. Reed. Not at all.
You should recover quickly after taking this.
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye for now.
It's working. Everything will be better.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Nurse Crane? Yeah, I heard she's doing all right. Connected and protected.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired these days.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Goodbye, young man.
Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Will distribute flat. Perhaps I should look into it.
Right, it's good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
The walls of your home will not protect you.
Pay me.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Have you any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I'll never know what goes on in that place. But as long as people are getting better, I'll stop investigating her.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Good evening, Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I don't know much about the woman.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Against malevolence and trickery.
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Why did you send Samuel to the cemetery, Tobias? What did you see there?
I sent him on a vision. A dream of a dreadful and laughing queen covered with blood, sleeping with the dead and feeding on the fear of the dying.
You sent a man to die because of a stupid vision. I have heard enough of your nonsense. Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son.
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
Faith gives me all I need, my son. If I must fall, then so be it.
No doubt your faith will prevail, but let me give you some extra protection against the devil's work. Medicine.
Blessed be your generosity, my son.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Maybe it's time to see if this Christina is still working.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all.
demon! Back!
There's some places to be than here. Over there! There's one of them vermin! This one's mine! He's dead! Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Drag the poor wench across all these streets to let her expire and be found here.
You're surprising. Occasionally, you make a good point.
How's that?
We're being misled. Or worse, we're being baited by Leech's plan.
It's a leech!
Stop! Vampire!
We have to stop it!
Roll back to the...
Jonathan! What was that? I won't let you escape. You're very fast, but I'll catch you. They've all been butchered.